Let's do this. The Cult of Hockey podcast by the faithful, for the faithful. I'm Bruce McCurdy with the Edmonton Journal's Cult of Hockey, and I'm here tonight with my colleague Kurt Leavins from Pender Island in British Columbia, where Kurt appears to be in contact with us by candlelight tonight. Kurt, what's going on?
Well, not too far off, actually. We have a windstorm out here on the West Coast, and the power is out, but my backup source is running my Wi-Fi, and I had charged up my phone in advance, and I have an oil lamp behind me.
Well, that seems appropriate.
I'm serious about the oil lamp, and so I had enough juice to watch the rest of the game and do the podcast with you.
Yeah. Well, the oil lit the lamp 7 times tonight, so maybe that's an appropriate thing to have. Edmonton beat Chicago 7-3 in a pretty overwhelming performance by the Oilers. They clearly did not want to go into the break with another loss under their skin. So they made sure, and they made short work in about a 10-minute span in the second period when they pumped 4 in a row past Peter Mrazek between 6:37 and 14:48. So 8 minutes and 11 seconds. It went from 1-1 to 5-1, and then it was just time to attend to details like get Evander Kane off the schneid.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the very late going, it's a very special moment when tonight's emergency backup goalie for the Oilers, one Matt Berlin, with a 4-goal lead, was given the nod to come in and play the last almost 3 minutes of regulation. Turn aside every shot he faced, and got the huge congratulations from the Oilers at the end. That was fantastic to watch.
Yeah.
How pumped the team was by this event. You know, this is one of those things that happens once in a long while. Maybe once every couple of years you have to dress an e-bug.
Right.
But not very often the guy actually has to come in and play. And tonight he didn't have to come in. It was a choice. Yeah. And it was a choice earned by the fact that the Oilers had such a big lead that they didn't they weren't taking any serious chances by doing what they did, and they gave the kid the thrill of a lifetime.
Yeah, two things. One, I hear that there's already the nickname going around the internet, the Berlin Wall, which I think is pretty fitting.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, and I think it was super classy of Jay Woodcroft to do that. He didn't need to do that, but the fact that he did, and how his team and how the crowd reacted to it, pretty clear that was not only a good human being call, but the right hit that pushed all the right buttons. It was pretty spectacular.
The crowd loved it. The players loved it. You know, what's not to love? So
it got on Hockey Night in Canada. It was pretty awesome.
Sure did. Yep. I see the green and gold goalie gear in there. And anyway, we'll talk a little bit more about the Berlin Wall at the end of towards the end of the podcast, but we got lots of other things to talk about, including our usual 2 good things, 2 bad things, and 2 numbers. And of course, with a 7-3 blowout win, we're going to do 2 good things each. And I'm going to, as usual, Kurt, turn to you for the leadoff item.
Well, we already talked about one goaltender. I'll talk about the other one here, Jack Campbell, who since Christmas has played way more like the Jack Campbell that Ken Holland thought he was signing in the offseason. Was pretty solid tonight. And I'll admit, I was concerned partway through this game because the Blackhawks were hanging around. And, you know, they have just enough good players. If they hang around, they can win a game. You know, anybody can beat anybody in any given night in the NHL. And at one point, the game was 2-1, and the Blackhawks sprung for a 3-on-1. And I forget who the third guy was. Maybe you remember, Bruce, but I know that Taves and Domi were the other 2 guys.
Right.
And so down they came, Oilers leading 2-1. Down the ice they came in the second period on a 3-on-1. A puck goes to Taves. Taves gets a good shot away. Terrific save by Jack Campbell. They go right back down the ice and score the 3-1. And to me, that flipped the switch, and away the Oilers went from there. It went from Chicago hanging around, to that's when the dam broke. And I think I can circle on my score sheet the point where that happened, and it was the big save by Jack Campbell. Club turned it the other way, gained the 2-game lead, and I really thought they just steamrolled Chicago after that. So Jack Campbell's save when the game was still 2-1 is my first good thing of the game.
Right on. All right. Well, I'm going to talk of I think the game that the Oilers' big guns had tonight, and this was all of oh, good, they fixed it. All the guys that scored 3 points tonight, which include Connor McDavid, who's got 2 assists on the power play. Edmonton's first 2 goals came on their old reliable power play. And then they finally got the 5-on-5 game going with Connor scoring the winner on the old Gretzky play where he set up behind the net, tried a couple of passes from there, and then finally made what Gretzky used to do once in a while from his office, which is walk right out from behind the net on the backhand side, come right out into the slot and pound a backhand shot. Wayne used to put it right in the roof of the net. Connor put it just inside the post, far post, but same outcome. That turned out to be the game winner. Zach Hyman had another big game, a goal and 2 assists, and just all around the puck as usual, and all around the net, casting screens. Like he gets. There are goals scored where he doesn't get a point, but he gets a plus mark from us at the Cult of Hockey for making a positive contribution to the goal. Typically a goalie screen or causing some kind of chaos in the range, or even simply winning a battle, which doesn't necessarily result in a scoring point, but it results in Edmonton keeping possession that eventually leads to the goal. And we saw basically all of those things from Hyman tonight. And we also had, of course, Leon Draisaitl bouncing back from I thought was an awful game on Wednesday against Columbus. That was a very poor game by Leon, and he knew it, and he played like he knew it. He brought his game. He brought his 2-way game for the most part. He won a lot of puck battles, and he distributed. I mean, there was one play in the second period where he came back and lifted a stick on the back check, immediately turned and rifled a perfect stretch pass to McDavid for a breakaway. Maybe that was early in the third period. Anyway, it was I think McDavid had maybe 4 breakaways in this game of different types. 2 that were sort of true breakaways, and 2 where he got sort of in behind everybody, and he couldn't score on those, but he sure was making sparks fly. And that particular time, Dry set him up. And of course, Dry pounded home 1 goal, got absolutely rooked out of another one by a weak, lame, pathetic goalie interference call where McDavid basically didn't even touch the guy.
Yeah.
Mrazek just lost his post and fell off the post and then left the side open for the rebound, which Leon promptly deposited. And the ref in the corner decided that he'd seen goalie interference on the play. And just incidental contact. It wasn't a penalty or anything, but the Oilers could have probably challenged it, and good chance they might have won. But I think Woodcroft thought it's 5-1. There's 2 minutes left in the second period. We challenge it. The first thing we do is we piss off the ref who just made that call. But secondly, it costs us a power play. Chicago scores and gets a bit of life. It's just I think he just kind of made a defensive non-call, Woodcroft, and not challenge.
Yep,
I think he had a really good case.
Too. Yeah.
And then the final of the 3-point guys, and this will be enough good things for one good thing. Darnell Nurse, 3 assists, +3, and all over the ice in a very good way for the most part. I saw him real good in this game. Very dynamic. We saw the dynamic Nurse tonight, and he was skating and he was creating stuff in the offensive zone. And he came in for his own shot and a close-in rebound on the goal that McLeod picked it up and he banked it in off of Seth Jones from behind the net. and puck just barely went over the line. Originally, they scored it unassisted, but they fixed that. And it was, but he was in the middle of those. Those weren't cheap assists, really, any of them.
Nope.
And I like this game a lot, and I will just I'll stop there for my first good thing, because that's already four. That's what, $36 million in salary I probably mentioned already. So that takes a pretty wide swath of the team. But the good news here is that the big boys showed up to play and played well.
Yeah.
And, you can, Nugent Hopkins, he only had 2 points. Tyson Barrie, he only had 2 points, both goals. Ryan McLeod, 2 points. So they were really producing all up and down the lineup.
Well, my second good thing, I'll bounce right off that, because I saw the exact same game that you did tonight, Bruce. And this game was in stark contrast to the Columbus game, which, quite frankly, pardon my French, pissed me off. I just think
couldn't agree more.
Yeah, I just think this hockey team is better than that. I don't mean any disrespect to Columbus, but if you really want to win your division, you've got to win those damn games. And I thought the Oilers in the Columbus game came out and were the best team for over the first 6, 7, 8 minutes. Then I thought they got frustrated and they started trying for stretch passes. They ended up with unforced icings. And I honestly thought their impatience gave that game away. And they were full measure for the loss. I wasn't even angry when they lost in overtime, because I kind of thought halfway through the game, I thought to myself, they're going to lose this.
But we got a point.
Yeah, right. But this is the Chicago game, not the Columbus game.
Right.
But I thought to myself, well, let's see if they learn something from that and come to this game tonight and mean business. And I really thought they did tonight. A way more complete game, a very contained game. You didn't see a bunch of those stretch passes this time. Darnell Nurse was particularly guilty for attempting stretch passes that didn't come near anybody in the Columbus game. Whereas
11 icings in that game, Kurt. 11 icings.
Wow, I didn't realize it was that many, but you could count them one after another, that's for sure.
27 giveaways and 11 icings. That was my number last podcast.
Yeah, well, I can see why. Well, but you know what? Your point on that the big boys came to play tonight, those are also the leaders on this team. And, maybe as a group, they kind of looked at that effort against Columbus and said, that's just not good enough. And tonight, their effort was good enough plus some. So I'll give them credit for this. This is a game they needed to win, should have won, did win, and convincingly. And maybe that Columbus effort is the last one of those that we'll see this year, we hope, and cross our fingers. That's my second good thing.
Excellent. Yeah. I need to have a second good thing. I filled up the first good thing with good things, didn't I?
Used up all your ammo.
Yeah, well, much of my ammo. Well, I will give I'll give some credit to I think Evan Bouchard. I enjoyed his game. I thought he was way more alert and passing the puck with authority, shooting the puck with authority, and just sort of like he was one of the several players who was way off their game last night.
Yes.
Last time. And this time around, it was a much better effort and a much stronger positive with the the shots on net, the flow of play while he and Brobery were out there. And Brobery had a couple of sort of shaky moments, but I thought Bouchard was. I thought he was probably the better of that two tonight, and I haven't always thought that in recent times that they've been together. But just a little pat on the back for the guy. I mean, tonight he's got no points, 3 shots, 5 shot attempts, a takeaway, 2 block shots, nothing bad. On the no giveaways, and that's been part of his issue. And not that he was a particular standout in the game because it was a whole team effort. And if you prefer, my second good thing can just be that top to bottom, I thought the team put in a real solid effort, and they're all going to be getting passing grades tonight.
Yeah. Evan Bouchard, for my money, Bruce, when he brings added urgency to his game, he's fine. To me, that is his kryptonite. And I wonder sometimes if it came from playing too many, in the rocking chair 25-minute games in junior,
Right.
where honestly he didn't have to be that urgent to be successful at that level.
He was Chris Pronger at that level.
Yeah, he really was, right? But to your point, tonight I saw more urgency in his game. He was winning races to the puck. He was winning board battles. When I see those little things out of Evan Bouchard, I figure he's going to have a good night. And I agree with you. I thought he was solid.
Excellent. So what do you got for a bad thing?
Well, not much. And I hate to pick on this player because I'm a big fan of Dylan Holloway, and I've written about him many times in 9 Things. But I'll point out a mistake tonight. And it was late in the game, so the game wasn't in question. Right. But the Oilers are going up the ice, and it's 7-2. And Holloway goes up the ice. He gains the blue line, and then with time ticking down in the third period where you're ahead, at that point, you put that puck into the corner. You get it deep, and you make their defenseman go back and get it. Instead, after he stepped over the blue line, he tried to make a cute little lateral play. Gave the puck away, went right back in the other direction, and ended up in their own net. I think that Dylan Holloway's game has really grown progressively through the season, and we're seeing these things fewer and fewer. But you can still see the fact that he's a rookie playing in the NHL. Matthias Janmark, for example, when he gains the blue line in that situation, he'll dump it into the corner, and that's the play that Dylan Holloway should have made with that too. I tapped him primarily at fault for that goal. And it's a tough lesson for him to learn. I guess at least he's making that mistake in a 7-2 game, where it's a teaching moment and not a you cost your team the game moment. Right. All rookies make mistakes. I don't mean to bash on him, but that's one of those. As he was skating up the ice, Bruce, I was saying, just get it deep, kid, just get it deep. But then he tried that lateral pass, and boom, jailbreak the other way.
Blind pass, he passed behind the back, basically across the zone, and it got picked. And then the defensemen were scrambling hard from that moment on.
Yeah, plain recovery. And I'll give him credit. The kid busted his ass and got back into the play. But the fact of the matter is, it was his mistake that caused the turnover and the rush in the other direction to begin with. So. Live and learn. He'll be fine. I like the role Jay Woodcroft has him in now, and I've been critical of Jay Woodcroft's handling of him this year. I think right now he's actually in a pretty good spot, but plays like that, he's going to have to learn from.
Yeah, that's right. And my we've been talking a fair bit about him making rookie mistakes this year, and the times I've been more critical of him is when he makes the same mistake that he's made before, and where you hope he does learn from it, like bad line changes. Dave and I have had a couple of back and forths about that, where he just kind of abandons his position to make a change because his line mates are changing. And usually when your line mates are changing is the very time to not make a change, so you can do it sequentially rather than have all 3 forwards at the bench or all 6 forwards at the bench at once, because you got 3 coming off and 3 going on. And he's made that mistake a couple of times, and that's probably the harshest criticism I had for him at any point. But he's just oozing with talent. He makes, you see these little snippets and vignettes every game of real good partial plays. He just doesn't quite finish somehow. The pass gets deflected away at the last minute after he's made a good rush and move and picked out the right pass receiver, but it just doesn't quite click. But you can just see the potential And this is a guy who's got a long track record of coming into a league, being pretty average the first year he's in it, and then tearing it up the second year. And I'm not saying he's going to tear up the NHL, but I am saying he's going to be better.
Yep.
In year two, and probably by a significant amount. So.
Yep, the game will slow down for him. You know what I mean? He'll see things more clearly at ice level the more reps he gets. It's we'll just have to be patient and sit through the odd one of these because they are going to happen. Just like we've seen from Evan Bouchard, right? It's just it comes with the game when a rookie is trying to perform at the NHL level.
Right. All right. Well, my bad thing. I don't have much bad to say about this game, and I already kind of talked about the thing I'm going to pick, which is that call on the on what should have been Draisaitl's 30th goal of the season on the goalie incidental contact ruling, where, isn't it refs? Wouldn't the ref be better off to say it's a goal and let Chicago challenge it?
Yeah.
If it's obvious, they're going to challenge it and it's going to get called back. In the end, like when I first saw it, I thought he didn't really touch him. And Mrazek just lost his post and fell back, making the first save. Like Mrazek is not exactly your great positional goalkeeper. And it was to me, it was a goaltending mistake.
Yes.
And Draisaitl immediately made him pay for it, but Stripes let him off the hook. In more general terms, my bad thing is that McDavid